Good evening and welcome to the Hairenik Media Newscast, bringing you the latest headlines from the homeland and the region, along with community news and more. The Armenian government has classified the long-awaited report on the 2020 44-day war, prompting sharp criticism from opposition MPs who accuse authorities of orchestrating a political cover-up to shield Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan from accountability for his wartime leadership. Compiled over 3.5 years by a parliamentary inquiry committee, the report will remain sealed in the National Assembly archives, despite earlier government pledges of transparency. No public release is planned. Critics say the decision undermines democratic accountability and prevents the public from fully understanding the circumstances surrounding the 44-day war and the loss of Artsakh. They warn that keeping the report classified hinders essential military and strategic reforms, while further ending public trust in state institutions. Opposition MPs who boycotted the investigative commission say the entire process was orchestrated to shield Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan from scrutiny. They have condemned the outcome as a politically driven effort to control the post-war narrative and avoid confronting systemic failures. Displaced residents of Artsakh gathered outside the Armenian government building to protest, demanding that officials stop speaking on their behalf internationally. They criticized Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan's recent statement at the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, where he called their return to Artsakh unrealistic. Anastas Israelian, coordinator of the Reviving Artsakh movement, condemned the government for abandoning Artsakh's rights and emphasized that despite the occupation, the people's right to return must be upheld. He said Artsakh has been and will remain Armenian, adding that even if returning is not possible now, the right to do so must never be denied. Arsen Gugasyan, uncle of missing 44-day war soldier Sarkis Gugasyan, has been placed in 1-month pre-trial detention on hooliganism charges following a protest near Armenia's defense ministry on September 29. Gugasyan and fellow activist Apijan Sarkisyan were demanding a meeting with officials when a confrontation occurred. According to his lawyer, the clash stemmed from provocation by military police during what was supposed to be a scheduled meeting on September 27. Despite reportedly urging peaceful conduct, Gugasyan was arrested based on complaints from the defense ministry and military police. The lawyer stated that Gugasyan, who has serious health issues and lost his brother in the 2020 war, is being targeted for asking difficult questions. At the Warsaw Security Forum, human rights lawyer Sianush Sahakyan accused Azerbaijan of depriving Armenian hostages of access to independent legal counsel and fair trials, describing the judicial proceedings as staged rituals of humiliation. She stated that despite assurances from the Azerbaijani government that Armenian prisoners enjoy full legal rights, including access to lawyers, the reality is starkly different. Sahakyan, who has been appointed by the European Court of Human Rights as a captive's authorized representative, revealed that Baku has denied all of her requests to meet with the prisoners over the past 5 years, raising serious concerns about the rights of detainees and the impartiality of Azerbaijan's judicial process. In Azerbaijan, talks continue about changing the Armenian constitution. Azerbaijani Foreign Minister Ceyhun Bayramov stated that Armenia must remove its territorial claims against Azerbaijan from its constitution. The summit held in the U.S. and the documents signed there are of historical significance. To fully seize the historic opportunity and finalize a peace treaty, it is necessary for Armenia to eliminate the territorial claims against Azerbaijan that are enshrined in its constitution, he said. Speaking at a meeting of the Organization of Turkic States, the Azerbaijani foreign minister explained what Baku means by the phrase Zangezur corridor, describing it as a key part of the region's transport and logistics network linking Europe and Asia. He emphasized that the corridor connecting western Azerbaijan with Nakhichevan is an integral part of the Middle Corridor and was reinforced by the recent Washington Summit's TRIP initiative. Bayramov's remarks confirmed that from Baku's perspective, the so-called Zangezur corridor refers to a transit route through Armenia's Syunik region, despite previous proposals by Yerevan to use alternative routes inside Azerbaijan for such connections. Further underscoring this stance, Azerbaijani President Ilham Aliyev reiterated his support for the Zangezur corridor during the Turkic State Summit, calling it a key achievement of the Washington Summit and a vital link in regional trade. While Aliyev spoke optimistically about progress toward peace with Armenia, the Armenian government has repeatedly rejected the term, noting it does not appear in any official agreements. Critics argue that Aliyev's insistence on the term signals an attempt to reshape the narrative around regional sovereignty and transport routes. The summit concluded with a joint declaration by Turkic leaders praising the Zangezur corridor, a move that has further fueled concerns about Baku's broader regional ambitions and efforts to redefine the regional transport and diplomatic landscape. At the same summit, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan highlighted the growing role of the Turkic world in promoting stability and security across the South Caucasus, reinforcing Turkey's strategic interest alongside Azerbaijan in shaping the region's future. Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan met with the Azerbaijani president in Copenhagen, where Aliyev's use of the term Zangezur corridor became a key topic. Pashinyan's office stressed that this term does not refer to Armenian territory. Despite this, Aliyev repeated the phrase in his speech to the Organization of Turkic States, calling the corridor's opening a major achievement from the Washington talks. Pashinyan and Aliyev also met in Dushanbe during the Commonwealth of Independent States Summit to discuss progress in the peace process. Russia is expressing caution over Armenia's recent initiatives that could reshape the dynamics of the South Caucasus. Russian MP Vladimir Zhabarov has raised concerns about the proposed Trump route transport corridor, stressing that any such project must involve key regional players like Russia, Turkey, and Iran, and should promote peace and mutual benefit rather than serve outside interests. He emphasized that lasting stability in the region depends on Russia's active involvement in balanced negotiations. At the same time, Konstantin Zatulin, first deputy chairman of the Committee of the State Duma for the Commonwealth of Independent States, criticized Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan's New Armenia plan, including his proposal to establish a fourth republic. Zatulin described this as a failed attempt to repackage Pashinyan's domestic and foreign policies, pointing to widespread opposition among Armenians, especially concerning constitutional changes tied to Azerbaijan's demands. Together, these statements highlight Russia's careful and strategic approach toward Armenia's domestic reforms and regional cooperation efforts, signaling Moscow's determination to remain a key player in maintaining stability in the South Caucasus amid Armenia's shifting political landscape. A new report by Luis Moreno Ocampo, the founding prosecutor of the International Criminal Court, has exposed a serious conflict of interest within the United Nations, casting doubt on a recent ruling regarding Armenian political prisoner Ruben Vardanyan. In February 2025, the UN Working Group on Arbitrary Detention ruled that Vardanyan's imprisonment in Azerbaijan was not arbitrary. However, Ocampo reveals that the opinion's author Gana Yudkivska has financial and personal ties to Azerbaijan, including her law firm's work for SOCAR, the Azerbaijani state oil company, and her husband's pro-Azerbaijani political activity. Ocampo says these connections violate UN rules of impartiality and independence, calling for Yudkivska's recusal and full review of the case. Ruben Vardanyan's legal team is now challenging the UN decision, while human rights groups warn of growing Azerbaijani influence in international institutions. The case stands in contrast to a separate UN statement from March 2025, which demanded the release of all ethnic Armenians held in Azerbaijan. Former Armenian Genocide Museum Institute director Haik Demoyan says that he has uncovered evidence of criminal agent activity linked to the controversial renovation of the Tsitsernakaberd Memorial. In a Facebook post, Demoyan accused museum board chair Raymond Gevorkyan of overseeing the state-backed renovation project while disregarding public outrage. He also alleged that Gevorkyan and other board members ignored widespread criticism of what he described as state-led vandalism at the memorial. Demoyan further accused Gevorkyan of past sabotage efforts, including attempts to block an Armenian genocide exhibition in Paris in 2015. He called on national security services to investigate Gevorkyan's alleged ties to Turkish organizations. Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić has accused Turkey of destabilizing the Western Balkans by supplying thousands of unmanned aerial vehicles to Kosovo. He said Ankara is working to revive the Ottoman Empire through its actions in the region, which violate the UN Charter and relevant Security Council resolutions. Vucic's remarks have drawn criticism from regional analysts, including Arap Oğuzhan, who pointed out that Serbia has itself exported weapons to Azerbaijan, a close ally of Turkey. The contradiction has fueled accusations of double standards, highlighting deeper tensions and inconsistencies in the Balkans and South Caucasus' evolving security dynamics. 31 French senators and members of the National Assembly have issued a joint appeal on the occasion of the second anniversary of the forced displacement of the people of Artsakh, emphasizing the need to hold accountable those responsible for ethnic cleansing to ensure the return of the people of Artsakh, the immediate release of Armenian prisoners, the creation of an international platform to ensure the safe return of displaced Armenians, and targeted European sanctions against those responsible for war crimes. It warns of ongoing rights violations and cultural destruction, urging the international community not to ignore these abuses and to uphold justice and human rights in the South Caucasus. A growing number of visitors to Yerevan's Mother Armenia Military History Museum are raising questions about a surprising restriction. While photography and filming are allowed in most areas of the museum, including the World War II exhibit, filming is strictly prohibited in one key section, the hall dedicated to the Artsakh Liberation War. The museum, now part of the History Museum of Armenia, has not clarified whether it remains under military control or has fully transitioned to the Ministry of Culture. Staff redirected inquiries to the Ministry of Defense, raising further questions about who currently governs the museum, the Ministry of Defense or the Ministry of Culture. The lack of transparency and official responses continues to fuel public concern. Meanwhile, visitors keep questioning why a war many consider deeply patriotic is being treated with such secrecy. The opposition's push to unseat Armenian Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan intensified as the Armenia faction officially joined the No Confidence Initiative. Opposition leader Haik Mamijanyan, head of the With Honor faction, said all 28 members of the Armenia faction signed the motion, bringing the total number of supporters to 34 MPs since June 7. Azerbaijan, together with Turkish companies, plans to build a wind farm in the occupied Karvajar region of Artsakh. The project, located at an altitude of 3,100 meters, will have an initial capacity of 240 megawatts, with plans to expand to 600. The wind farm is expected to launch in 2028. By 2030, Azerbaijan aims to generate 6 gigawatts of renewable energy, 4 of which will be for export. The United Nations will withdraw up to 14,000 peacekeepers and police, about a quarter of its global force, due to severe funding shortfalls, senior UN officials confirmed. Civilian staff cuts are also expected across 11 missions. The financial crisis is largely driven by the United States, which owes over $2.8 billion in unpaid peacekeeping dues. Despite promising a partial $680 million payment, the Trump administration has canceled $800 million in future funding and proposed ending all U.S. support for peacekeeping by 2026. The cuts affect missions in hotspots including South Sudan, Congo, Lebanon, and Kashmir, as Secretary General Antonio Guterres warns of a deep cash crisis while pushing for UN reform. The Armenian National Committee of Illinois hosted a powerful weekend of advocacy and community engagement, all in support of the Armenian Legal Center for Justice and Human Rights. All proceeds from the events went directly toward the center's work, pursuing justice for Armenian prisoners of war, documenting human rights violations, and advancing genocide-related claims in international courts. The weekend featured a student-focused program at the Taniel Varujan Armenian School, where over 50 students and faculty heard directly from Ken Hachikian, chairman of the Armenian Legal Center, and international human rights lawyer Siranush Sahakyan, president of the International Comparative Law Center and executive director of the Armenian Legal Center. They led a compelling discussion on the Artsakh genocide and the urgent situation of Armenian POWs. Later that evening, Sahakyan and Hachikian met with members of the Armenian Revolutionary Federation of Illinois to discuss the broader advocacy landscape. On Sunday, Sahakyan addressed the wider community, highlighting Azerbaijan's continued violations of international law, including denial of access to detainees by the Red Cross, legal representation challenges, and lack of consular services. She outlined Armenia's legal efforts at the European Court of Human Rights and the International Court of Justice, and emphasized the need for sustained international pressure and legal action. Sahagyan's work has already helped secure the release of over 100 POWs, and she remains hopeful about outcomes in ongoing international cases. The ANC of Illinois reaffirmed its commitment to justice, accountability, and protecting Armenia's future. A powerful evening of music, culture, and unity brought more than 200 community members together at Surp Khat Church's Arabian Hall in Bethesda, Maryland. The event, organized by the ARF Sebu Gomide and Hamaskain of Washington, D.C., featured a much-anticipated performance by Artur Khachens, a celebrated vocalist from Artsakh. For over 2 hours, Khachens moved the audience with his soulful voice and stirring renditions, bringing the spirit and resilience of Artsakh to Washington. A standout moment came when more than 85 Hominiman scouts from the eastern region joined him on stage singing patriotic songs, a powerful display of unity, youth, and national pride. The night reached an emotional high when Angelica Avanesyan, soloist of the Artsakh Dance Ensemble, took the stage by surprise. Her elegant and heartfelt traditional Armenian dance performance left a lasting impression on the crowd and added another layer of cultural depth to the evening. The program opened with a flag-raising ceremony by the Hominiman Scouts, followed by welcoming remarks offered by Hagop Chatalyan on behalf of the ARF and Hamaskain local leadership, emphasizing the importance of preserving Armenian culture and strengthening community ties. It was a night to remember, one that honored heritage, celebrated unity, and reminded all in attendance of the enduring strength of Armenian identity. We now leave you with highlights from this inspiring event, a celebration of heritage, resilience, and community spirit. That's all for tonight's broadcast. Thank you for joining, and don't forget to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Good night.